The greatest podcast in the world. The greatest podcast in the world. Look at the boy bands.
Friday nights.
Rules that were available. Rules that were available.
Friday nights.
Rules.
Look at the boy bands.
Rules that were available.
Portly Gentlemen's Podcast.
Smooth like a Sunday morning, yeah, oh yeah. Smooth as silk, his hair was smooth as silk. They say when they ran at him, he turned away. Was a hairy man in the woods. It wasn't good. With his feet on backwards, rolling down the track. Better get away from him now, Jack, 'cause he's gonna get you just like a Yowie'S should. We're back with part 2 with the Portly Gentlemen, and we're talking about shit.
We did talk about shit, so that was my bang on.
Alrighty, so it might be time to just go through a couple of encounters. So one of the most interesting ones to me, because it's fairly rare that you hear about an actual physical interaction between Yowie'S and humans. So this one was in Killikivan. So I think, Trent, you've got that there, and maybe you could even pull up the map on that as well.
I think it's pronounced Uluru, but
Yeah.
keep going. Sorry.
I'll get started on it anyway. So a bow hunter searching for wild pigs near the town of Killikivan, Queensland, is confronted by a charging Yowie. The Yowie encountering below is from Clint Maynard, who provides the chilling encounter that he had with a Yowie in a life and death situation. It was early in the morning, and I had just started. You right there, Biggie? You gonna survive? Got that
Just
vid.
gonna quickly die for a sec.
The runners
It was-
got a hold of me, boys.
It was early in the morning, and I'd just been hiking through the bush since just before sunrise, hunting wild pigs. It was a brisk morning, but beautiful and clear, and I was about an hour or so into my hunt, looking at several pig tracks when I caught a glimpse of several pigs way ahead of me and too far to get a shot of them. I was pretty sure they hadn't seen or heard of me, so I moved quietly about 50 or so meters closer and settled beside some low bushes and began searching the bush and clearings ahead with my binoculars, looking for the pigs. I was getting a slight wafting sour smell, which I assumed was animal excrement, but it didn't quite smell right to me, and I thought maybe there was a dead carcass nearby. I made a slow pan from left to right, searching for movement, and as I panned back through the bush closer to me, which was out of focus, it looked different. Something was missing. I thought I'd scanned past a tree stump and some bushes that partially blocked my view through to where I was looking for the pigs. The tree stump was missing. I focused on the bushes, and I was getting a strong sense that something was there. As I scanned back to the right of the bushes, I instantly became alarmed, and a real sense of terror set in. It was dappled sunlight. I realized I was looking at a very dark, hairy head and face of an extremely large creature in a crouching position and looking directly at me. What really got me anxious was the eyes and the look on its face. Its eyes looked so human. It was an intense stare, and it shook me. Its face looked dark, and I would say leathery. It was breathing through it was baring its teeth and exposing a huge mouth. I knew it wasn't human, but the intelligence in its eyes shocked me. It blended in so well. It was dark brown, almost black, shaggy hair. I didn't realize it must have been in front of me the whole time. I'd been looking towards where I had seen the pigs. The creature was in a crouching position, and in a slow rocking motion from side to side, looked like it was ready to jump in my direction. I started to hear a very low level growl, which I knew was the creature, even though it was about 60 or so meters away. I became so scared at this point that I dropped my binoculars and frantically loaded my bow. I knew I couldn't outrun this creature. It looked so massive. I could feel it. It looked so massive. It made me feel as if I was, I don't know.
A lemming.
I I fumbled to quickly get my bow loaded, and as I looked back at the creature and took aim, it released an almighty roar and launched itself at speed towards me on two thick legs, mouth wide open, looking so incredibly frightening. I could see all its shape now, its long arms tearing and grasping at the bushes, and thick-set body as it stampeded towards me in a huge, big thumping steps. It got about 30 meters from me when I got a shot away in sheer terror. With minimal aim, the arrow struck the creature deep in its right shoulder, and it instantly stopped grimacing and clutching at the arrow. As I began moving forward, as I began moving as quickly backward as I could, the creature had taken.
I was going to
its
say, not
attention off
forward.
me. Yeah,
That's
you
exactly what I was going
definitely
balls.
don't go forward.
Yeah,
I was like,
yeah.
hold on.
Bang.
Throw a rock at it. Fuck. What's this guy, rookie?
I stumbled
Basically,
backwards.
though.
I watched it snap the protruding arrow with its opposite hand, and it kept furiously pawing at its shoulder, making deep grunting sounds. In a second, it looked back at me with such a fierce look and grimace that I thought this was it. I knew a headshot would be the only way to save me from sure death. As I struggled to load up an aim, the creature let out another incredible growl, turned and ran furiously into the trees off to my right with big thumping steps. I aimed wildly at it and got off a second shot, which just missed the creature. I knew that if the creature came back, I wouldn't make it to my vehicle. I was relieved a little when I finally made it back into some open country in the small valley I used to get into the area. So, I mean, like, look, that's basically it. But this is like,
When was that?
Yeah,
Was there a date on it?
2019. And so, like,
it's really recent.
yeah, so like what's interesting about this report anyway is like there's not a lot of these reports where there's actual physical interaction between the two.
Yeah,
parties.
that's right. Yeah.
There's often like stones being thrown, like little, and they're like basically pebbles and stuff like that. And who knows if this was just bluff charging him? Like, let's presume that it's real. And like maybe it was just bluff charging him. Like, that's a common animal behavior. Is when an animal like runs forward just to scare you, to get it or to get you away from whatever it's has going on. So whether it maybe had a baby there, or maybe it was trying to hunt the pigs, realized he was there and then saw him as competition. But also, like in a lot of these encounters, if you're on your own, these things have no fear of you. It's only when people are in groups that they're more likely to run away.
Right.
So I think that's that's another interesting aspect that we haven't really talked about is like the actual aggression. And on that AYR website, they talk a lot about like if you are going out into one of these areas, specifically looking for them, like do not go on your own. Like take a group of people with you. It's not safe to go on your own. And there's been a bunch of disappearances from people that have said that they're going out, Yowie hunting on their own that just never come back. Now,
What? Really?
yeah, look, and again,
That's
same as any of
crazy,
this
eh?
stuff. Like, who knows? You know what I
That
mean?
one
Yeah.
there was like not that far from us either. There's only
No.
a couple of hours.
No, and
Dude,
dude,
there's so many
in
at the Sunshine
in
Coast.
your area, yeah, in your area, they're fucking everywhere, bro.
It is, Calan. You are doing that on weekends, Calan, you fuck. Dressing up in fucking Yowie suits, going around scaring children.
2
trying to
hours,
eat 'em.
mate.
Yeah.
2 hours sitting there. I'm gonna get a good scare on this.
So I don't really think we like got to this point of it, but like, what did you guys think of that footage though?
The thermal one.
Yeah.
Do you want us like? Yeah, okay. Well,
Really convincing, bro.
Well, I mean, we don't need to do like a wrap up, but like just in terms of like finishing that segment anyway, is like, yeah, like because like to me that was like pretty compelling in that it was clearly something. Now, again, obviously they could have like faked it and got like a real big guy or whatever. But yeah, like it was pretty interesting, man. Like, and there's a couple of other ones. So actually, Trent, if while we're talking, if you could go through to the end of that same video, there's another one from Mississippi. I think it's Mississippi, or anyway, somewhere in the United States, the south of the United States, where there's one of his friends has taken similar thermal imaging, but she's using a much better camera. And these cameras are like so expensive. Yeah, here we go.
Yeah.
So this is another one that we got here. That this is from like a $30,000 thermal camera that was taken at night. And what's interesting about this one to me is that you can actually see the
facial features.
Yeah, the facial features. And that's what he was saying is he was almost saying like it's even better almost that you get this footage at night because you get that much more detail from the thermal camera. Like if this was during the day, that would just be a large black blob that would be moving through the bush and you wouldn't be able to see much detail on it. But here you can actually see like the forehead, the what do they call it? Like the with the cone shaped shape of the head.
Yeah.
Its head.
Yeah, what do you call that? There's like the ape ridge, like cone shape.
Yeah, that's pretty wild.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is one, from overseas.
Yeah, so this is in the US there. So
Okay.
yeah, I thought that was pretty good as well. But yeah.
Should we go and try and find some of these Yowie'S, by the way?
I mean, that's the next thing, right? Is that
like should we not? I feel like it's pretty close to us.
From
We should
everything that
probably
I've
just go
heard,
for it.
it seems like we should not.
I'll be back one sec.
Oh, come on.
it's probably not something that I'd find like that fun to do because like if you actually did come across something like that, like what are you gonna do? Like, you know what I mean? Like, would you take? Okay, so here's a question, and I should probably wait till Calan gets back, but fuck it.
Nah, fuck him, man.
Yeah,
He's just going to dress up as a Yowie and scare children. Like,
I hope so.
we know what he's doing.
Yeah.
So one of the questions I have about this entire thing is, do you take the shot?
The kill shot?
Yeah, like if you've got
Of course,
that
100%.
thermal camera out there and those two big guys behind the tree, and like, are you gonna take that shot with a rifle? You just fucking and look, obviously there's like
bro, live and let live.
Like,
What
unless
the
it's
fuck?
coming at me,
Hell
I'm
no,
not
kill
fucking
that
gonna kill
cunt.
it. If it's just
Unless
chilling
it's
over
like-
there.
I'm gonna kill
If
that
it's
and
chilling.
fucking. Well, okay, so let's think about it logically. There's like actually zero physical evidence of a fucking Yowie, you know. So if you have the opportunity,
some people
to,
would
like,
disagree with
get
you, but
some-
yeah.
Yeah, I actually did see this news report of this old dude. I mean, he's old now, but he spent his entire life dedicated to research on Yowie, and he reckons he's got all these fossilized footprints and stuff. And
yeah, I saw that.
yeah, but because he's a amateur scientist, the scientific world per se won't acknowledge any of his research. But he's been following, all this Yowie stuff for 50 years.
Yeah, he's also autistic.
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't going to say that, but
Yeah, his house is
I
like
mean, tell the whole story.
he's literally a hoarder.
he is a hoarder.
And
He's a
Yeah,
crazy man. Come on, guys.
his house is like full of that's no offense to that guy. Like I'm sure he's like a fucking awesome dude. And
Yeah,
I'm
I bet
sure
she's a fucking champion Yowie hunter.
and I'm sure he's like done a bunch of like actually like solid science. So, but at the same time, the unfortunate part about that is that it makes it a little bit hard to find that kind of thing credible, particularly because like our standard of credibility these days is like, do you have where's the footage?
Yeah.
You
And
know?
that's why you take the shot,
Yeah.
bro. That's why you get that kill shot.
So
Take
so
that
I
big old fucking ape
just
body to
taste-
the
just
Take him down.
you know.
so let's go around the circle and do the
To
take
me,
the shot or not.
a real Yowie
Mick,
hunter likes
Mick's
the
taking the
chocolate.
shot. Mick's
I'm
taking the shot.
I'm taking
Trent,
that shot every day.
Treno,
Fucking.
taking the shot.
Nah, I'm leaving it chill, man. If it's not
All
attacking
right.
me, I'm leaving it by itself. I don't want to get fucked up by a big gorilla man when my one shot doesn't kill him.
Yeah, I
Biggie.
most likely miss.
Biggie, you gonna take the
All right.
shot?
I reckon I'd hit it with a trank dart, get a DNA sample, and then fucking leave it be.
Caleb?
I didn't even know that was a choice. So I'd then befriend it, become real tight pals, and I'd teach him the culinary ways that I've learned on 2-minute noodles and
That's a cheese sandwich.
and Stop attacking people.
Yeah,
Yeah.
stop eating humans. Look how good mac and cheese is. Mac
Yeah.
and cheese.
Get a
Yeah.
Look,
fucking
we can
hot
use,
chook
we
from
can
a
work
servo,
with these
like,
rocks.
fuck.
There's no need to be scared of the rock.
I know.
What about you, CK?
One of your ancestors in the head.
Yeah,
one
so
time.
I think I have a pretty similar like opinion to Biggie. Is that like I don't think I would want to shoot it because if there's a bipedal humanoid and you take a shot at it and you fucking hit it, it turns out it's like some weirdo pretending to be Bigfoot. You just killed somebody. Like I feel like that's probably
Yeah,
going to be
alright. Murder charges aren't ideal.
Mind
but,
you, all right.
you know.
In
like-
that circumstance,
Well, he
if
should've
you had
been
one of
running
them run at you and you had that bow and arrow,
Yeah.
would you fucking launch that
I
shot
wouldn't
into it?
hesitate, bro. No, if I had a
Oh,
fucking
yeah.
pistol in my hand at point blank range, if it decided that it was going to try and hurt me or my family, it would be dead. 100%. You know what I mean? Like, I would have zero hesitation if it came anywhere near my fucking children.
And I
Like, it
would have
be
turned
fucking
into
dead.
Legolas on that bitch. Just fired a million
Yeah,
fucking
yeah.
arrows at it.
Blah, blah, blah,
What? I thought you said legless.
blah. Yeah.
That too.
Legolas.
You're like,
Whoa,
I'm getting legless.
fuck.
I'm like,
got
dude,
legless on that lad.
being drunk
I
is
would
not
shit
gonna help
myself.
you.
No, I would fucking shit myself if I had something like that run at me.
Yeah. Yeah, but I think it's just such a crazy thing, man. Like when you start to see the like the amount of fucking stories that there is, it's like fucking really overwhelming.
Well,
how
I
many
found the
fucking
overwhelming side of the drivers running across highways and stuff. Like most of the reports on that, I was like, wow,
Yeah.
they had no idea. Like it's just you don't really hear or
No.
anyone really talk about Yowie'S full stop, you know. But
Yeah.
it's really
What blew my-
interesting to hear the stories out there. That's for sure.
What blew my mind was the amount of stories in Southeast Queensland. Like, there's 30, 40 recorded encounters with Yowie'S in Southeast Queensland in the national parks.
So
Like,
Treno,
Sweet,
jump
man.
onto
we
that.
should definitely fucking go find
Jump
these
onto that
Yowie's.
AYR website and
Yeah,
have a
enjoy
look
that,
at
Mick.
have a look at
Oh,
the
you
map.
come with me. I'm not going by myself. They said it's not safe.
Oh, you said that you don't even you don't
You
even
said
think
you'd
they're
shoot
real,
it.
Tom.
You're
I don't have a
right.
rifle. I don't have a gun, man.
That's a
Thank you, bro.
personal
I need you.
problem, bro.
All I need to do is run faster than you cunts, and then I'm good.
Hey, throw rocks at it. Oh, I hear rocks work.
The rocks work.
That's their kryptonite.
Yeah.
You'll be all right, mate. Now you got that knowledge at hand on your bike.
You know why they are so afraid of rocks? Is because they were still around in the younger Dryas. And so any rocks falling from the sky, they're like, no, it's happening again. No!
Flashback.
I'm getting flashback.
Dude, like, look at this. Wait a second.
That
These
whole
are all
Asterix and Obelix,
The
the Gauls
reported
afraid of the sky.
sightings in Queensland. Each one of them is a different reported sighting.
Oh,
Like-
Mount Tambourine. There's a couple there. Mount Tambourine.
Yeah.
Dude, there's heaps at Tambourine.
Fucking
And
next
Treno,
door, bro.
I'm pretty sure
Springbrook.
if you have a look around, you can find the map.
Slacks Creek. That's where I work. That's in the middle of the city, dude.
Yeah. I mean,
You know
where
that
was it?
Slacks Creek thing?
Wait, I bet you if you look
Slacks
at all
Creek
these
back in
places,
1980.
I bet you fucking Biggie's been to every
1980.
single one.
So I'm pretty sure.
Guaranteed.
I'm pretty sure, Treno, you can go to a
Look, I'm not
map
saying
on that
me and
website.
Bigfoot have
Yeah, I'll see if
the
I can
same person.
Find it while we
but
keep
we've
talking.
never
And it-
been
and it
seen
just
in
comes
the same
up-
room at the same time.
But
No one's ever seen us together.
what are you saying, CK?
Oh, it's all right, bud.
Well, now it's just awkward. I want to hear it.
Why? Because I'm not talking. It's awkward.
Yeah.
No, you keep talking. You're real good at it, bro.
Oh, thanks,
man,
bro.
that's awkward. That's awkward. bro.
Hey, shut up, Nick. I'm enjoying this. That time I got
God.
some praise.
What, the awkward silence?
You're
You
good,
enjoying
Jan.
that?
Fucking good on
I don't know
you.
where a map is on this website, but
Yeah, there's like a Google Maps thing for it.
yeah, I know. I seen it in the video that I
Like,
shot.
was there like the thing I found? Was there much reports of it like in Western Australia or?
Yeah, so
Something
in
like that.
Western Australia, I think around the south of Western Australia, and what's interesting is if you look at where all of the like on the map where all of the sightings come from, it's usually around dams or areas with water. So there's like barely any that are around areas with no water. Now you could probably put that down to
Sounds like a bunyip, bro.
Yeah, well, this is
No,
the
well,
thing, right?
It just sounds
Yeah.
like they need water to survive.
Yeah, or people are
Yeah,
going.
I suppose.
People are usually going to be in areas where there's water. So for people to see them,
Yeah.
they would be around an area with water because people also need water. You know,
Well, that's true.
that was cool. I kind of put that down too. That was like, there was like some like theory that you put forward, and I'm not saying it's bullshit because like obviously I don't know as much as these guys in terms of like the actual like, amount of encounters and where they are. But it definitely seems like if you're going to claim that there's more around water, you would actually have to be like out in the desert like looking for them. You know what I mean? And there's not that many people
Yeah.
in a desert looking for Yowie'S or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You think they'd stand out though?
Yeah.
In
Well,
the desert.
unless they were like the color of sand or something. Like they like yeah, and that's the thing is like, is there different coat colors for?
Yeah, well, and it's got to be
Well, they
hot in those
shapeshift,
fucking
man.
coats, man. Jesus.
So this is the thing, right? Is that
They shed?
the air guys don't think that like the air guys. It seems like they think that they're like fully physical beings. Like there's other like fringe groups that
It's
like
air
think,
guys.
yeah.
What's air? What do you mean air? What's that?
AYR, this Australian Yowie research. We've been talking
okay.
about it literally since the start of the podcast.
Yeah, well, you just started calling
Yeah.
it air guys. I was like, what the fuck is air?
I was actually
okay.
thinking of
AYR?
the town air up.
Yeah,
the
I-
Dude,
town
every time I see it, I'm like, oh, there's a Yowie sighting in air.
Yeah, that's
oh,
exactly
no.
where my
No,
head's
no,
going.
no,
Like,
that's not what it is.
Yeah.
But yeah, it would be
Oh,
interesting
this
to like
big again.
it would be interesting to like just talk to everybody that you know about like how have you seen a Yowie? So I started this experiment the other day, and I like just started like talk to like a couple random people like, oh, have you seen Yowie or whatever? Like, because we're gonna do a podcast episode on it. And one of my friends was like, oh no, like I haven't, but I have a really good mate who has a real fucking insane Yowie story where he like got like attacked by a Yowie or whatever. I'm like, oh fuck, like okay, sweet. So like I feel
break
like
break out the popcorn. Let's hear it.
yeah. So and no, he literally said he's like, dude, I'm sure he'd be happy to talk to you about it. I'm like, oh, okay, sweet. So, but I just feel like that probably if you started asking, like if you asked your grandparent,
Wait, sorry. What's the story though? Did he tell you the story?
no, and I didn't even ask.
Oh,
And
Dude,
was
he
this
literally
friend
said-
one of the owners of that air website? Is that? Yeah,
Well,
because I feel like
unfortunately,
they've got a
he's not my
bias.
friend. He's not my friend yet.
yes.
Yeah.
I would
He
be
will
friends with
be.
that guy. He will be. Oh, I really want to. I would love to interview that guy. Like I would.
Yeah, I'd
fucking
love to hear. I love hearing those stories, especially
Yeah.
if you nearly got him.
But yeah, so yeah, like one of my friends was like, oh yeah, like I've got a really good friend who like had a like super close encounter with like a violent Yowie or whatever. And he's like, I'm pretty sure he would like be more than happy to talk to you about it, like for your podcast. I was like, oh, okay, sweet. Well, we're not doing interviews yet, so.
I mean, we could.
Oh, and I'm definitely like getting actually like way closer to fucking doing that. I got like a few people lined up that I would like to talk to.
Okay,
just
so
the story.
are we ready to
Okay.
sum up the Yowie'S? And
Yeah,
our
I think
thoughts
we
on
can. Oh, does
Yowie'S?
anybody have like anything else they want to fucking talk about? I feel like nobody else really did much of talking.
I mean, I can
Yeah.
talk about some of one particular sighting that I found interesting.
Yeah, that's a
In
good idea.
where was it? In the sunny coast. Basically, a retired soldier decided to go camping up in the hills with his family and one of his friends who is also a retired soldier, and they had gone up and set up camp and whatnot for the night. They were all just hanging out, having a couple of beers, sitting by the fire, had the radio playing, out of one of their 4-wheel drives, and then the guy hears like a log being broken in half, and it's so loud that he can hear it over the top of the radio that's playing, like them obviously partying somewhat. And he looks over at his mate, and his mate's like, "Yeah, I just heard that as well." So they turn the radio off straight away. Like the noise is so loud that they can hear it from where they're sitting. One of the guys then goes and grabs this light bar that he's got hooked up, and they shine it out there, and it's something like 20,000. I don't know what what was the light rating? Sorry,
lumens.
Yeah. So it lights up the whole forest where they are. So it's basically daylight, and then about 4 meters in front of them is an 8-foot tall bipedal creature with human-like features, basically crouched behind this tree, just staring at them. And the whole group can see it plain as day. The 2 guys, the guy's family, his kids, they're all there. And the guy's best mate starts freaking out. Like he's like scared as fuck, basically.
Fuck, wouldn't you too, though? I would
yeah.
just absolutely shit myself in that situation.
Yeah. So they're in Queensland. This is in 2015. So they don't have any guns or anything. They're just out camping, having a good old time. But as old mate's losing it, the Yowie has noticed him and is like starting to get more focused on this guy that's losing his shit. Like he's gonna charge at him, basically. His mate yells at him, "Oi, shut the fuck up, rah rah rah." He's yelling at everyone, "Oi, just be quiet." And the Yowie basically stands up and disappears into the forest. And the guys fucking get in their utes and they get the fuck out of there. And that's basically the whole story.
Whoa, was that
At least
drink
they were
driving?
smart about that.
Yeah. I mean, would you be worried about
Did that
drink
turn into a
driving?
drink driving story?
Yeah. And then they
It's not like a big
And then they
Mix
ran
party.
into an RBT, and he had a
Yeah,
really good
I got
story
booked,
of
yeah.
why he had to drink drive.
Yeah.
Dude, it was a fucking Yowie.
Oh, it was a
right,
fucking
mate. We've
Yowie,
heard it
man.
before.
But imagine being in that situation, man. Like, you're just
Yeah.
like hanging out, having a good old time. Fucking
8-foot Yowie behind a fucking tree.
just like hanging out,
beside
just
ya.
checking you out.
4 meters
crazy-
isn't that far either.
No, dude.
No, dude.
What's
He
crazy
probably
is
just
that
wanted a beer.
there's just such a
It's
like
like-
there's like an infinite amount of stories that are like exactly like that.
Mm.
Like I saw one where there was like a guy like going out. It was like maybe going out fucking hunting or something down in the Victorian Highlands, and it wasn't supposed to be like particularly like snowy or whatever because it's like in winter, but it like did start snowing, and he's like pulled over and decided, oh, this is where I'm going to camp because like I've got to stop somewhere and I don't want to be driving through the snow. And so like set up his camp or whatever. And then just like while he's like, after he's set up and like just sits down, he's like, before he's done anything, and then just sees like the same thing, like some dude like poke his head out from around a tree, be like, wait.
Yeah.
Like, what are you doing?
And go back.
Oh,
He's
shit.
like, what the fuck? Like freaking out.
Thought you'd have a little camp there, did you, buddy?
Eventually-
What?
Was he
Like,
parked
oh,
beside a
mate.
public toilet?
The thing gets me is how big these things and how fucking good they are at hiding.
I feel like they're not that good at hiding, bro. Like I feel like all these stories are there's a giant fucking man trying to hide behind a tiny tree.
Yeah.
Like they're all like and I can see his foot and his shoulders like sticking out.
Just see his little toes kicking behind the tree. Tee-hee.
One of
Yeah,
the
I mean,
things
there's just
that
like there's an infinite amount of these fucking stories, you know. It's fucking really like once you start to actually like look into it, it's fucking a lot. Yeah, it's a lot.
Yeah, which was the bit that surprised me the most. Like, I always just thought Yowies are a bit silly.
Same.
Like, I've just never heard the amount of stories that I've heard
Yeah.
about
no.
Yowies. I was just like blown away by it. And I'm like, wow, there's a massive thing.
Yeah, and I think that like that's definitely like one of the things that like got me the most was like I definitely came into this thinking that this would just be like a ultimately silly, you know,
Yeah,
thing
yeah,
that I would just
100%.
be like, nah, there's no way or whatever. But
Yeah,
to
went
be
on
honest,
that rabbit hole.
yeah, to be honest, like once I started fucking looking into it and I found that AYR and then also like it's Yowie'S.com. Like I was like, oh, hold on. Like actually there's like fucking hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of like if not thousands of like really well documented sightings with the place, the person, and like these are the people that are willing to come forward.
Mm.
You know, like so if what 1 in 10 people comes forward, maybe like 1 in 5, maybe.
Yeah.
Like I don't know, like how many people that see something like that just keep
Yeah,
it to
true.
themselves forever. Like that's what's interesting to me is like
Mm.
you know, like what if
And
if
to be fair, like to go. Oh no, sorry. Keep
no,
going,
you're right.
Cameron.
No.
To be fair, like to go out into the bush, like there's so many things in the Australian outback that will fucking kill you. That no one wants to go like
Yeah.
10 meters off the trail. Like, nah, fuck that.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I suppose like one of the other things I kind of wanted to talk about is like the concept of pareidolia. Have you guys like do you guys know what that is? Pareidolia?
I can't say that I do.
So if you pull up that one of the links that I sent you, Treno, is the two guys sitting on a log.
Yeah.
It's like a really old school photo.
Do you want to just see the photo?
Yeah, just the photo, I think, is probably like the way to go. But anyway, so like
Sorry.
It's a fucking video for some reason. Anyway.
I was gonna say paradola is what two guys sitting on a log.
no, so pareidolia is like you know that video you sent ages ago where there was like a piece of toast. Or like
Oh,
no,
yeah,
it was like
yeah.
the toaster that was like fucking
The
evil
toast.
or whatever. Yeah,
Possess.
but like yeah, so like you know, but it's like the same thing as like the piece of toast with Jesus's face in it or whatever.
Yeah.
Like this kind of thing where there's like
Mm.
like or somebody like shits their pants and it's fucking Jesus' face or something, you know? It's like this weird thing where it's like, oh holy shit, it's Jesus undies, like Jesus skid mark. Like it must be a sign, you know? And so anyway, like things like this, like if you're looking at this photo here, so what we've got is this story from 1936 where there's a group of guys who go out on a logging expedition and one of them has got a like the latest camera and he just spends the entire time and he's like quite well known at the time for being somebody that just loves photography. And so these two guys get it, or these three guys get a bit of a break in their like logging fucking daily duties and go for a walk up the creek. And this is, I think, maybe in northern New South Wales. And they find a log. Old mate's like, oh, here, I'll get a photo of us. And he takes the photo with his two mates sitting on the log. Now, at the time, they didn't think that there was anything there at all. But if you look at this photo, there's these two guys on the right-hand side sitting on this log, and there's behind them on another log what looks to be a fucking giant man or a giant
With a baseball cap.
creature. I mean, you could say it's a. I mean, who knows? I don't really know. Like, because what they say is, yeah, it's like a guy with his head down. So
you see his head there, his shoulders.
And his head's like down with a small head, like skinny kind of legs, and then he's like giant long arms. So it's a fucking weird photo, and this is like the first photo in Australia, like ever, of the Yowie itself. Now I think this is like getting back to the pareidolia thing. In terms of pareidolia, like this could just be an example of the exact perfect lighting at the exact perfect time that it just happened to look like a Yowie is sitting behind him. But,
isn't it just trees, man? Or no?
Yeah, that's exactly it. It just creates that figure, though.
Can you
Can you
see
see
it though,
this?
Mick?
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah.
Yeah, like
It
there's a
just
guy
creates
sitting
the
there.
figure of it, but
Yeah.
it's probably most likely just a tree.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
think
it looks
that's
like
the
it
point
could
that Siko's
easily
saying.
just
Yeah,
be
the
a tree.
Yeah,
pareidolia.
that's it. Yeah.
Can you see it though, Mick?
Yeah, I can see it. Yeah.
Can you see the guy there?
Hey,
Can you
yeah,
see
yeah.
the-
I mean,
Can you see the
yeah,
kookaburra?
Yeah, I can. I can see.
Oh,
Like
where's the wombat then?
only once you pointed it out, it was
Yeah,
like, oh,
I'm not
okay, I see
convinced,
what's
dude.
supposed to be the shoulders, and then
Yeah.
like
Oh
a
man,
knee.
I thought that stood out like quite
Yeah,
obvious.
dog's balls.
It stands out
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
intensely to me, but obviously, whatever. Anyway, but my point is that I'm not saying that that's a yowie, right? The point that I was trying to make is like pareidolia. So if you're out in the bush, and particularly if it's nighttime, and you start thinking about monsters lurking in the dark, that you start seeing things. Like I've actually experienced this. Like I've definitely experienced this. Being in the bush.
Stumbling around Biggie's backyard.
Mm.
Yeah, well, stumbling around Fraser Island.
Calan jumps out of the bushes.
Ah!
Oh, not again.
But yeah, like this idea that a group of certain shadows together look like something that it's not. So one like an interesting example of this, actually, I don't know if you boys remember it, but Big and Mick was when we were out in your backyard having a fun old trippy times, and on my car, I think it was, or one of the cars anyway, it looked like there was like a decal on the car. And then we realized that it was actually because there was a slight light from your neighbor's house that was projecting through like a fern that was in their yard onto the car, so that you could actually see a fern projected onto the car. And it
Yeah,
was
I
like,
remember.
it was super unnoticeable unless you were like in that mindset or whatever.
Looked like
But
you
as
had a
soon-
zebra decal or something.
Yeah. But as soon as you
Yeah.
brought it up, everybody could see it. And so like this is the thing, like you start to see things in the bush. And I think that like, so that what that's called is like pareidolia. Particularly when it comes to like, superstitious stuff or like monsters and stuff like that.
It's like pattern recognition.
Yeah, it's like the human brain's ability to just start recognizing weird things where there isn't actually anything. So I definitely think that like a big part of this whole phenomenon could be just put down to like pareidolia. Like a lot of those truckers ones where they're driving through somewhere and then they see something on the side of the road. A lot of that I can just put down to like, you've probably taken too much amphetamines and you've been up for a few days.
You're driving like how far in a truck?
Yeah.
You're bound to be
Yeah.
mind wandering, whatever.
Yeah, and you see the light, the right bit of shadows in the exact right spot, and the shadow just shifts at the exact right point. There could be a farmer like 400 meters away pointing a fucking torch in your direction, and just the exact tiny bit of light pokes through at that one time, and you freak the fuck out. So a lot of these things from this. So this is basically my wrap up. Is that like a lot of these things could definitely just be like pareidolia in the bush. They're just these weird instances where your brain just starts to pick up like a specific thing and obviously like associates it with a face or an animal or whatever.
Yeah.
But for sure, when you start to get down into just how many of these examples there are, and then particularly when you combine that with the new thermal imaging stuff that they're doing, and they've literally only just started doing that. Like I feel like the evidence mounts, and it's definitely not something that I would now be like totally dismissive of, even though I am still yet to see any evidence that I'm like I'm not going to be convinced until there's a fucking dead body. Like that's kind of.
And to get a dead body, someone has to take that shot, brother. You know what I mean?
We'll show you.
Yeah. All right. Well, why don't you give your wrap up then, Nikki? Mister? Give it a gunshot and see.
Well, I actually think that when you look at the, when those quad razors, like this is gonna seem strange, but those quad razors,
What, like
like
Gillette?
Gillette
Like
razors,
four
yeah,
blades.
yeah, 4-blade razors, right? Like when they came out, right, it was just
Never heard of them.
conveniently timed that Ian Thorpe suddenly came into the mainstream and was swimming for Australia. So my theory is that he's actually a timeless being that is a Yowie, and that he's always been here in Australia, and that
It does
you know,
line up.
it lines up pretty accurately. Like there's a bit of research more that needs to be done there. But
So you're just
I think
saying Yowie's are Ian Thorpe? Is that your
Ian Thorpe,
conclusion?
yeah, I'd say that's your best bet for
It's not
a
even
for a
that big.
Yowie.
But hold on. I don't understand what you're saying at all there.
Ian Thorpe's a Yowie.
bro. Ian Thorpe's a Yowie.
Yeah. What
Is
else
that
can you
really
say?
your wrap up?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Next.
Fuck you, CK, you piece of shit.
Is that
Well,
all?
like,
Is
finish
that
what
what
you're
you
saying
got?
then,
Oh, fuck you, man.
No. Go on. Go on, sir.
No, fuck you.
No, it's all right.
Treno.
A bit of garbage makes us real.
Garbage. Nah, I was in the same mindset. I don't think before looking into it, I thought it was complete fucking bullshit. Just some game ass story that we've been told for years and years. A myth, basically. But having a look at all the information that is available, I believe it's changed my opinion to not be so dismissive of the stories of it. Like, yet I won't 100% believe in it until I can see some physical evidence. Basically, it's in the same realm as aliens for me, where I'd like to think that they exist, and I would like to believe that they exist, but until I actually see that they exist, I can't believe it fully.
Yeah, I'm down with that conclusion. Yeah, that's basically how I feel as well. Biggie,
Yeah.
Did
what
you
do
get that,
reckon,
Mick?
mate? Are you awake, Biggie?
Yeah,
Awake,
I heard.
bro?
Okay, sweet. It's
Wide
hard to
awake.
tell. It's hard to tell from back there.
Oh well. Yeah, man. I reckon there is a possibility that a Yowie or a bunyip still exists in Australia. I believe they probably were a lot more prevalent at one stage, and that there is a chance that there is some still getting around.
We're looking at one right now.
Or at least
You're the hairy man.
Yeah, the relations thereof.
Yeah,
But,
so
but
there's also
I
like
don't
the
think that like a lot of the accounts that come from these people are actually like bona fide accounts of an actual fucking Yowie. It's just like they saw something in the woods and well, it was kind of looked like a Yowie, but we couldn't confirm anything. So I don't know, man. There's a good chance it exists.
But what looks
but I
like a
don't believe
Yowie?
half of them.
what was that?
What
Ian Thorpe,
Australian? Oh yeah, there you
I
go.
fucking said this already.
The Gillette razor.
He's just busting around Australia, like sneaking up. Oi, Calan, you want to go halves in this franchise? We'll dress up as Yowie'S. And Caelan's
Fuck
like,
yeah, I do,
sweet,
mister.
yeah, no." He's like,
Wait, this
the
side.
trick is, I don't even have to dress up. I have to dress down.
That's right.
All right, Calan.
I've got the feeling like again, like I was blown away by how much there was about Yowies and stuff. But I'm gonna put them in the family of like Bigfoot and Sasquatch and that, and they're interdimensional travelers. That's how they've been able to elude us for so long.
It's because when
They're
they
right,
might
it's-
be not seen, they slip into the fourth dimension.
Yeah, I
So
mean,
they
you'd
just
thi-
they
you'd think
break
you'd see
into this realm to do a bit of like poking around and stuff like they. hightail it as soon as fucking rocks put in the equation, you know.
As soon as the rock is thrown.
Arrows seem to thwart them. No one's been able to prove that bullets can take them down, because 1 out of 5 of us would take that shot. So there's too many pussies. But yeah, I don't know. I again, like, yeah, I don't know. Yowie'S were always a old wives' tale to me. You know, like that's the story to put kids to sleep and tell them not what to do. But yeah, blown away by the sighting. I'd love to do, right, is a monster fucking showdown. Like, who would we think would win in a fight between a Yowie and a bunyip?
What about drop bears, mate? They'll get you.
Oh, drop bears, that's an illegal to itself, you know.
Yeah.
That's
Yowie'S are interdimensional travelers. That's my take on all this.
Right. Did you want to finish your joke, Mick, or like is that it with the Ian talk thing? Like I didn't mean to like
Christ,
move you
CK,
on.
you
That was a joke, CK. You just
Yeah, you fucking wanker.
you're just
Honestly.
stabbing it. Oh,
Yeah,
at 2,
Jesus
CK.
Christ.
At 2.
You can just do the
man.
punchline whenever you're ready.
Yeah.
It's fine.
Come on, Mick.
Hey, Biggie, you got a song to wrap us up, man?
Oh, I don't know.
Did somebody just fart on my
Calan.
I thought that was his song.
That was my whole tune. Burp. Banana. Banana.
Lucky we're not all in the same studio, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. One thing I did hear about Yowie'S apparently is they all stink like shit.
Yeah.
Like,
Everything, like that
sour
whole
smell.
Sasquatch, Bigfoot,
Yeah.
they all reckon they've
like
ranked.
putrid.
You've got like
human
the
shit.
long hair dreadies
Yeah.
all
there's
over
poo
your
stuck in
body.
it.
You're gonna have dingleberries. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, when Mick had dreads, he started to get
Dingleberries
pretty
everywhere.
rank.
He had dingleberries. Bit of poo stuck on the end, frosted tips.
It's like the opposite of frosted tips. Get those brown
Well,
tips.
you know, poo dries out in the sun and goes bleach white.
Oh yeah, bleach white, like those the dog turds that get white.
Go, Biggie, go.
I'm gonna go take a piss. So. Fucking.
He's muted himself. It's a good song, though.
The sound of silence.
Oh, I can just tell by the notes he's hitting, you know?
For the Yahweh and the Bunny.
Oh, shit.
Leave them no be. Leave them be to roam. Just let them live where they live. Let them live on their own. Don't bother them, they won't steal your children. Don't bother them, they won't drag you to the water's edge.
There's a bunyip.
The bunyip and the bunyip and the Yowie, just leave them be. Don't shoot them, just let them go free. Well, this has been the Portland Gentleman. Oh, for another time. Oh, for another time. I'm feeling fine. Not wasting any time. We're feeling fine. Not wasting any time. Feeling fine. Portland Gentleman. Talking about stuff.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, awesome, Biggie. We only caught like the last quarter of that song, but it was good. The last quarter.
We had the main
It's actually
parts
perfect.
about bunyips and Yowie'S and children being stolen, so that's the main thing.
The greatest podcast in the world. The greatest podcast in the world. Look at them boy bands.
Friday nuts.
Rules that were available. Rules that were available.
Friday nuts.
Rules.
Look at them boy bands. Elderly Gentlemen's Podcast.